Stand for 911, where's your emergency?
This is Sandy. 241 Rock Rimmon Road.
What's the problem?
Send the police. Send the police.
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend.
What's the problem with your friend?
He's killing my girlfriend.
What is the problem?
He's killing my friend.
Who's killing your friend?
My chimpanzee.
He is killing.
The world, the kingdom suffereth violence, and the violence shall take it by force. If we can't live in peace, then let's die.
You are disoriented and scared too, I would imagine. Perfectly normal under the circumstances.
This Iceberg video is all about sounds and things that go bump in the night. So much like my scary YouTube videos Iceberg, I will be playing every single sound this Iceberg refers to, if I'm able to. So if you don't want to hear a sound, I will put a timestamp on screen so you can skip to the next entry. However, a few sounds I cannot play due to copyright reasons and risk of my video being blocked worldwide. These sounds include the real possession tapes of Annalise Michel, the Coast to Coast Area 51 call, audio from the Backwards music station, audio from the last castrated boy singing Ave Maria, the Christen Chubbuck TV broadcast audio, Everywhere at the End of Time, and the Chernobyl disaster 911 distress call. So besides these few examples, every other entry I will play a clip of. And after making like 4 different Iceberg videos by now, you can tell I'm starting to run out of ideas how to start these videos, so I say we jump into it. This is the scary and disturbing Sounds Iceberg. The bloop was a sound recorded in 1997 by the NOAA, which is an abbreviation for National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and they specialized with, well, the ocean. The audio was recorded at the southern tip of South America in the Pacific Ocean. The noise was so loud that you'd be able to hear the sound around 3,000 miles away from its origin. Some people hearing it automatically thought it was an undersea monster or creature. Even the former director of the NOAA data unit, Dr. Christopher Fox, stated in a 2002 news article magazine that the most likely cause of the sound was some sort of creature. Although that would be super cool and scary at the same time, a creature that could produce a sound loud enough to be heard 3,000 miles away would have to be huge, considering the loudest sound from an ocean creature is from the blue whale, which their sounds can only be heard roughly 1,000 miles away. So sadly, this sound was not from any animal. However, there is a much more logical reason why this sound was created. What actually happened was a large iceberg broke away from a glacier and fell into the water, making this well-known sound. The reason why this audio was given the name the bloop is because at normal speed, the audio sounds very slow and mysterious. But when sped up, the audio is just a short bloop sound. I'm sure many of you have heard about this audio, and if you have, you've probably seen this creature before. This creature is also called the bloop and was not only created to feed into the rumors of this audio's origin, but is also sometimes referred to as an SCP, which, for those who don't know, an SCP is a creature or object that doesn't abide by the universe's normal rules. And the SCP organization is filled with fan stories and drawings of creatures and objects, such as Siren Head for example, and also the bloop. The WOW signal is a sound that came from space and was recorded at the Ohio State University in 1977 by a piece of equipment known as the Big Ear, which was a radio telescope and was used to pick up any interesting audio signals it could find. The audio signals would then be printed out and sent to Dr. Jerry Amen, where he would then go through these printouts and look for interesting and unique sound signals. While looking through a specific set of printouts, he noticed a very strong signal that got printed out as 6EQUJ5. This signal was and still is the strongest signal the Big Ear has ever received. A lot of people think that the 6EQUJ5 is some sort of message, but that is not the case, and what this sequence of numbers and letters actually represent is a very strong rising and falling of intensity with the signal. The biggest theory that surrounds the WOW signal is that it's proof aliens exist, and this signal was from an alien civilization. There are other smaller, less known theories regarding the signal, such as it being from a spy tower or a satellite dish, or even a radio interference. However, a lot of the evidence shows that this couldn't be from a radio interference, and although it might be possible for the signal to be from a spy tower, the signal was very strong and noticeable, and it wouldn't make much sense for a spy to transmit frequencies that are easy to catch. The reason the sound was given the name WOW was because when the sound was heard by Jerry Amen, he circled the frequency and in big red letters wrote WOW. Take a listen. The Sounds of Saturn is a recording of what it sounds like being in Saturn's atmosphere. The sounds are very eerie, and the best way I could describe these sounds are cold and unfamiliar. The reason why Saturn sounds like this is because as the sun's solar winds bombards the planet, its magnetic field redirects much of the charged particles towards the poles. I know I sounded very smart there, but that was just a copy and paste from Google. I'm not actually that smart. The audio was recorded during Cassini, which was a space mission with the goal to send a space probe to Saturn to record data of Saturn and its rings and natural satellites. The probe recorded the natural audio of Saturn and even recorded audio of it flying through Saturn's rings. This entry in the Iceberg is referring to a loud trumpet-like noise that has been heard multiple times in different areas around the world. These sounds vary in frequency and intensity, with some being extremely loud and some being somewhat quiet. There are a few things these sounds could be made from, such as sonic booms, which can be caused by a few things, such as jets or meteors entering the Earth's atmosphere. And although some of these trumpet-like noises are just skyquakes, many people believe these sounds to be signs that the biblical apocalypse is near. In the book Revelations, there is a description of 7 trumpets that are supposed to be blown to show the biblical apocalypse is beginning. Each trumpet represents a plague and an angel. What do you guys think? Are these just sonic booms and skyquakes, or are these strange noises in the sky something else? Jonestown is one of the most famous cults in history and was led by Jim Jones, who led the People's Temple, which was a new religious movement that occurred from 1955 to 1978. This cult ended in tragedy and disaster when 900 of the members of this cult died, including Jim Jones, families, including their children, and animals such as dogs. What ended up happening was Jim gave his followers Flavor Aid, which was laced with Valium, cyanide, and chloral hydrate and phenergen. He then gave a final speech while his followers drank from his Flavor Aid. And while he gave his speech, you can hear children crying in the background, because since they were much smaller than their parents, they felt the poison first. This tragedy is what spawned the phrase, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid." The phrase has a few meanings, such as don't follow others and make your own choices, or it could be used to describe a person who believes in dangerous ideas because they think there could be a good reward that follows.
The world, the kingdom, tougheth violence, and the violence shall take it by force. If we can't live in peace, then let's die in peace.
We're all ready to go. If you tell us we have to give our lives now, we're ready. I'm pretty sure all the rest of the brothers are with me.
For months I've tried to keep this thing from happening.
You're going to help yourself, but you'll get no help. There's only one hope of glory. That's within you. Nobody's going to come out.
Jupiter's sounds are eerie and somewhat relaxing at the same time. The audio was recorded by the Juno's Waves instrument. Juno's Waves instrument is a space probe created just to be able to gather data about Jupiter, such as to find out the relationship between Jupiter's atmosphere, its magnetic field, and Jupiter's auroras. I personally think Saturn sounds a bit more eerie and disturbing, but let me know what you think. Amber Alerts are alerts people get on their phones, TVs, and other electronic devices that notify you that a child nearby you is in danger, whether that's due to a kidnapping or another form of endangerment. The sound that comes from these alerts is a loud, high-pitched repeating sound to get your attention. Not only is the sound disturbing, but the fact that it's most often linked to kidnappings make it a lot more unnerving. The name Amber Alert stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response, and also got this name to honor a young 9-year-old girl from Texas who was kidnapped and murdered in 1996. And you guessed it, her name was Amber. The Ruth Price 911 call is a very famous 911 recording that has an elderly woman calling the cops, claiming that a man has been watching her house and acting very creepy. Ruth claims this man said he was looking for someone, then disappeared. While on the phone, Ruth gets attacked inside her house by the same man, and you can hear her horrible screams until the call cuts off. For many years, this call was considered more of an urban legend, with people claiming it was created to train dispatchers to prioritize location before anything. However, a few years ago, some information was found that proved this Ruth Price call was real. A news article was found that describes her attack, and she explains how her attacker grabbed onto her and she screamed and pushed and pulled, and ultimately fought her attacker away. And thankfully, Ruth survived the assault and lived till 1994. And although this turned out to be real, the call was still used for training. So thankfully, Ruth survived and lived till 80 years old.
This is Ruth Price of 3877. What's the problem, ma'am? Oh, there's some guy been checking the place out. How? Well, he went in the back. I have an apartment in the back, and he said he was looking for a guy. And he comes to my door, and yes, and said he's looking for an apartment. So I live alone, and I'm an old lady. Mm-hmm. Where is he now, ma'am? I don't have no idea.
The Aztec death whistle is a whistle made by the Aztecs to replicate the sound of people screaming. The Aztecs would make hundreds of these whistles and would blow them as they were charging into battle. These whistles were made to not only scare the opposing side, but were also made to summon spirits to aid them in their battles. On top of that, these Aztec death whistles are also called whistles of death and were used during sacrifices and were then blown to guide these sacrificed souls to the afterlife. The whistles sound almost identical to real human screams depending on how they are blown, which now that I'm saying that out loud, I realize how easily that could be taken out of context. Anyway, take a listen. Julia is very similar to the bloop for a few reasons, such as it was also recorded by the NOAA and it was found to be an iceberg as well. However, Julia in my opinion is a lot more scary and sounds much more like a creature than the bloop did. The sound was recorded on March 1st, 1999, and the thing that's interesting about the whole Julia sound coming from a creature myth is that near when the Julia sound originated, supposedly a NASA satellite got a picture of what appears to be a large shadow in the water. However, this picture is loosely based on the story and I could find little to nothing linking the two besides just pure speculation. However, I think I did find the origin of this supposed NASA satellite image, at least the origin of its link to Julia. This picture was used as a part of a campaign by Surfers Against Sewage, or abbreviated as SAS, and this campaign had multiple ads showing this audio of the bloop, Julia, and upsweep, which ends with the sentence, 95% of the ocean remains unexplored. Are we killing what we yet to discover? So more than likely, this picture is either A, photoshopped and made for this ad campaign, or B, the shadow is a shadow of pollution and showcases how bad the pollution in our ocean is. I also tried to find why this sound was given the name Julia, but couldn't find anything, so let me know if you guys know anything surrounding the name. Édouard-Léon Scott de Martinville was a French printer and inventor who invented the earliest known audio recorder called the phonograph. The audio dates back to 1860 and the audio consists of Martinville recording someone singing Au clair de la lune, or known in English as By the Light of the Moon, a French song that was popular around the time. The audio is considered creepy because the audio quality is almost as crappy as mine, so it's almost impossible to make out what he is saying. The Sounds from Hell is a supposed audio recording that recorded people's screams and cries, obviously, supposedly from hell. The story goes that miners in Siberia were part of a unclassified drilling project that became known when someone from the project came forth and claimed that hell was real and it was located under Earth's crust. During a borehole drilling arrangement, after reaching 9 miles down, the drill broke through solid rock and opened up a crater. When the drill came up, the drill was glowing red, which should have not been the case considering the max temperature should have been only 150 degrees. And it turned out that at the bottom of the hole, temperatures as high as 1000 degrees were recorded. When a microphone able to withstand extreme heat was lowered into the hole, audio what sounded like humans screaming in pain was recorded. Although a very interesting story, the Sound of Hell urban legend is exactly that, just an urban legend. The story was first published by a Christian network called TBN, or Trinity Broadcasting Network, who claimed to have gotten the story from a magazine published in Finnish. And this magazine claimed that one of their own employees wrote the story by memory, and this employee claimed that they remembered seeing the story in a magazine that didn't require any proof of sources, and anyone could send in any story to the magazine. So this urban legend is just hearsay and is fake, and when it comes to the audio, it's not 100% known where it comes from, but the most logical theory is that the audio is an edited and looped audio clip from a movie called Barren Blood. Black Holes Colliding is not the name of my favorite adult movie, and is in fact the sound of two black holes from space merging together. This audio sounds very similar to the past sounds from space, such as Saturn and Jupiter. And although to us, or at least me, this recording doesn't sound like much at all. But in reality, black holes are huge, some of which are millions or even billions times heavier than our own sun. And when two of them merge, they create star formations. So from this recording, this sounds like nothing too special, but in reality, this is the sound of a huge amount of energy creating star formations. Take a listen. Operation Wandering Souls was an operation during the Vietnam War where the US forces would play haunting and chilling sounds to the North Vietnam forces. These sounds consisted of moaning and crying to scare the remaining North Vietnam troopers and lower their morale. The reason the US forces did this was because the forces believed in a well-known Buddhist belief that if not given a proper burial, the souls of the departed would wander the lands forever. The name Operation Wandering Souls was used because the sounds were used to try and trick the forces into thinking the souls of their friends and loved ones were wandering the battlefield. The audio of the Wandering Souls is also known as Ghost Tape Number 10. The audio is a bit similar to the Aztec death whistles, but instead of screams, it's more like cries of sorrow.
Vợ tôi cứu tôi đi. Bà đang về với con. Tôi đã về với mình đây. Nhưng tôi còn đau mấy ngày nữa. Tôi đã chết rồi má con bây ở. Tôi không biết chừng nào. Các bạn của tôi phải về để nói cho các bạn biết rằng tôi đã chết. Nếu phải địa ngục, cái chết thật là oan uổng. Thật là vô nghĩa. Không phải. nhìn lúc tôi biết thì nó quá muộn rồi.
The Golden State Killer was a notorious killer that would leave messages on people's answering machines, with the most notorious call having him breathing heavily and claiming in a soft whispering voice that he was going to kill them. And shortly after people heard the message, he would attack and usually end up killing his victims. The Golden State Killer was also well known as the East Area Original Night Stalker. The Golden State Killer ended up stopping his crimes out of nowhere in 1986, and was a free man and was never caught. Nah, I'm just messing with you guys. I saw how many people were upset at me for getting my information wrong on my scary videos Iceberg, so I'm just teasing a bit. In 2018, the Golden State Killer was arrested. Joseph James D'Angelo was the man behind it all. He was found to be the murderer after DNA testing was used and linked him to the crimes. He was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison. The rumors of his acts were well known, and the feeling of getting a call and hearing his voice must have been one of the most horrifying and gut-wrenching things to ever hear. Tornado sirens are sirens that consist of a loud looping sound to alert everyone that a tornado is forming nearby and to take cover. Depending on where you are, tornado sirens sound different and vary in how scary they sound. Probably the most famous tornado sound is from a broken tornado siren in Colorado. This siren is most associated with the creature Siren Head, but not only have I played that audio in the past, it's also just well known, so I'll play a less known but still nerve-wracking tornado siren. The hum is similar to the strange sounds from the sky entry I talked about earlier, but instead of this hum being linked to skyquakes and sonic booms, the hum is a lot more unknown. Much like the trumpet sounds from the sky, the hum has been heard by thousands of people, all in different locations. And people who constantly research and look for this sound are known as hummers. There is a well-believed theory that these humming noises are caused by jet streams shearing against slower moving air, but this theory first came about in 1973, and does not have too much proof behind it. Another theory is that since a lot of people who claim to hear the sound are from urban areas, it could be a type of noise pollution. But besides theories, not much is known about this hum, and even scientists don't have any concrete proof of what could cause this hum. The WKCR hijacking was a hijacking of the radio station 89.9 WKCR New York. The station was reportedly hacked in 1995, and this hack was recorded and given the name The Old Tape. The radio station was playing some classical music until the audio gets cut abruptly and is followed by a strange screech or scream where a faint wind howling can be heard, growing louder as the hijack continues. More odd disturbances show up, such as ghostly moans and a soft whispering voice of a female that can only faintly be heard until basically screaming. The audio was first seen around 2013 and was posted on 4chan under the X Paranormal board. Although a well-known creepy story, there really hasn't been any proof that it's real, besides just going off of what the original poster of the song says. So many people believe it to be fake, however there are a few popular theories people believe in. One of which is that people believe it to be an art project created by WKCR themselves, to maybe create some sort of buzz around their station. It's a possible theory, but isn't really backed up by much proof, besides the fact that most hijacks last only a few seconds, maybe up to a minute, but this hijacking lasted a decent time. On top of that, at the end of the supposed hijacking, the radio host continues without bringing up the hijack or apologizing for it, which is something you see all the time with real hijacks, such as the Max Headroom incident. Besides that, there isn't much to prove this theory, especially since no one really talked about this till 2013. The other well-known theory is that it's all a hoax and the anonymous 4chan user made the story up, which is very believable considering anyone nowadays will do anything and fabricate stories for attention and notoriety. Especially since when looking up this hijacking, no real documentations or talk about this hijacking appears, besides the YouTube video and of course, the original 4chan post. The audio is well known and is used in a lot of creepy videos and is a popular sound on TikTok. Body of a Pig is a YouTube video that shows a supposed creature hiding in rubble and can be heard in the background grumbling, saying something that resembles the phrase, "I have a body of a pig." The video blew up in popularity and was a lot of people's first creepy YouTube video, including myself. The video has been proven to be fake due to the uploader having other faked videos on their channel, and a lot of the occurrences in his faked videos are used in this one as well. But that doesn't stop the audio and video from being scary. Webdriver Torso is a YouTube channel that posts hundreds of thousands of videos, some being a few seconds long and some being hours. The videos showed typically a red and blue square with beeping and other noises in the background. For a good while, many people were confused about just what this channel was about and why it posted thousands upon thousands of videos. It turns out that the channel was not operated by a human and was just a YouTube automated testing account that had computers automatically uploading videos to the channel. But what makes this slightly more strange is that although this was proven to be fact and Webdriver Torso isn't anything else besides a testing account, one of their oldest videos titled 00014 isn't a video of a red and blue box, but it's a small clip of someone recording the Eiffel Tower. It's odd, and although small things like this isn't explained, this video could easily be just some random video uploaded to YouTube to test things out. I wouldn't say this audio is scary, but I'm sure some people find it off-putting, whether that's for its uncanny sound or due to the channel's mystery. UVB-76 is a number station that has been ongoingly broadcasting since 1973, and has not stopped broadcasting since then. UVB-76 is also known as the buzzer, and will produce roughly about 25 buzzes a minute all day every day. But on occasion the buzzing noises breaks and a Russian man can be heard saying things in code. There are a few theories to why this buzzer radio exists, such as it being a way for spies to communicate, but this theory is not very well believed in, due to the technology behind UVB-76 being very out of date for spies. One of the most believed theories is that it's just a type of alert system. As for what kind of alert system, no one can say for sure. What makes this mystery even more odd is that for the longest time the UVB signal came from a random isolated bunker, close to Moscow, and out of nowhere it changed locations multiple times. Mountain lions don't really need an explanation, but what some people don't know is that when a mountain lion is in heat and is looking for a mate, they will produce a horrific loud screech to attract mates. These screams can sometimes sound like a woman screaming and is very haunting if you don't know it's a mountain lion. That would be a very disturbing experience if you were to be walking down a road late at night and heard a loud screeching noise in the nearby woods, not knowing if it was a mountain lion, a trap, or a person who was in need of help. The Ghost Song is a song that's normally titled Horses by David Byrne. It's a song that starts off as somewhat relaxing and slowly turns into something demonic, until turning into nothing but screams and random noises. It's a pretty spooky song, but I can't play for you guys here, because, well, YouTube will strike this video. Trust me, I learned this the hard way. However, even at the parts that are considered to be normal, it's still pretty creepy and unsettling. The song was created by David Byrne, like I mentioned earlier, and for those who don't know, David Byrne was a part of a somewhat popular rock band, Talking Heads. The Swedish Rhapsody is the name given to a Polish number station recording that was most likely used for spies to transfer messages without anyone knowing. The audio recording starts out as a normal number station recording, until it randomly starts playing what sounds like something similar to what you'd hear playing from an ice cream truck. Then the recording turns over and sounds like a woman's voice starting to say something, but I have no idea what she is saying, not only because it's in a different language for one, but it's also very quiet and very hard to hear due to the audio static and popping noises. It's a very interesting recording and I can't help to feel uneasy listening to it, even though it's just a spy tower transmitting messages and nothing more. Krakatoa is not only one of the biggest eruptions of all time, but is also the loudest sound on Earth, reaching a whopping 310 decibels up close and 172 decibels 100 miles away. And just for comparison, a jet engine reaches about 140 decibels, and a lawnmower reaches about 95, so that alone will tell you just how loud this recording was. Of course, this explosion happened in 1883, so the audio isn't much more than just a loud boom of jumbled noises, but it's still super loud, so I'll lower the audio so your guys' eardrums don't rupture, because I'm just a nice guy like that. Sadly, through this audio it's almost impossible to grasp just how loud this audio was. The name castrato is typically given to a man back in the day who was castrated, which that basically means that his fruits of the spirits were chopped off. This happens to tons of choir boys back in the day to make sure that they would keep their high-pitched voices instead of going through puberty. This audio recording of the last castrated boy singing Ave Maria is haunting because he sounds like he is in pure distress, because he will never ever grow into a man and will be stuck with his voice and body forever. Luckily, this practice of castrating boys to keep their voices high was banned in 1903. Roughly around 4,000 boys were castrated, but sadly very few of them even ended up becoming well known. The black box is a name given to a piece of equipment in airplanes that records all flight information. All planes are required to have one, and planes have two different types of black boxes. One is the cockpit voice recorder, or CVR, that records all sounds from inside the cockpit as well as all radio transmissions. And the second black box is a flight data recorder, or a FDR, that records things such as altitude and airspeed. The CVR black box is what this iceberg is referring to. Since the CVR records all happenings in the cockpit and radio transmissions, a lot of plane crashes are recorded from these black boxes. The recordings can be very disturbing, not only due to hearing the panic and fear in many of the pilots' voices, but it's also just disturbing to know that a lot of these black boxes record these pilots' last words.
Swissair 111, you can block between 5,000 and 12,000 if you wish. Swissair 111 Heavy, we are between 12 and 5,000 feet. We are declaring emergency now at time 0124. Roger. 11 Heavy, we starting dump now. We have to land immediate. Swissair 111, just a couple of miles. I'll be right with you. Roger. And we are declaring emergency now, Swissair 111. Copy that. Swissair 111, you're cleared to commence your fuel dump on that track and advise me when the dump is complete. Swissair 111, check you're cleared to start the fuel dump.
Kevin Cosgrove was an employee at the World Trade Center in New York City. He worked in insurance and was sadly one of the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Much like many others, Kevin called 911 to hopefully get help, but sadly he was on the 105th floor of the second building. And during his 911 call, you can hear him in a panic, explaining just what was going on. He explains things such as his floor being filled with smoke, and other problems such as the heat. And the 911 call abruptly ends, with him screaming as he falls down with the crumbling building. It's a very horrible situation, and I couldn't even imagine what was going through Kevin's head. But be warned when listening to this audio, it's very upsetting. Take a listen.
Does it feel like it? Okay, try to calm down so you can conserve your oxygen, okay? Try to... Thank God to blow you in from the left. It's really bad. It's black. It's arid. Does anybody else want to try in here? We're young men. We're not ready to die. I'm sure. How the hell are you going to get my ass down? I need oxygen. They're getting to you. They have a lot of apparatus on the... It doesn't feel like it, lady. You get them in from all over. They get in from Jersey. I don't give a shit how high. Okay, so what's your last name? Mine's Cosgrove. I must have called about a dozen times already. Cosgrove. Yeah, my wife thinks I'm all right. I called her and said I was leaving the building. I was fine, and bang. Well, I want to... Hold on. Yeah. Cherry. That Cherry, you said, right? Yeah. That Cherry's next to me. 105. Who's office? John Ashfield's office. That's what you said. That's the office. We're in John Ashfield's office. OST. A-R-U. A-R-U. Right. That's the office we're at. There's three of us in here. OST. A-R-U. Hello? Hello? We're looking at financial center. Three of us, two broken windows. Oh, God!
Vladimir Komarov was a Soviet cosmonaut who was recorded while he was re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. His ship was not slowing down and was heating up to high temperatures, and he was inevitably going to crash land on Earth at full speed. Sadly, Vladimir did not make it, and his final talk to the people in charge of his flight was recorded. He can be heard cursing to the people who put him on the flight in the first place, and the audio cuts off when he hits the floor. His body was found among the wreckage, and his body was nothing more than a small molten piece of flesh and bone. Air raid sirens are sirens that turn on when an air raid is occurring. They are similar to tornado sirens with how they sound and how they work. They are made to be as loud and attention-grabbing as possible, and much like tornado sirens, depending on where you are located, air sirens sound a bit different. So I tried my best to find an air siren that is pretty scary and alarming, but isn't just a basic overused sound of one. During a flight, a man by the name of Frederick Valentich contacted Steve Roby, who was at ground control. He contacted Steve about an unidentified flying object that was racing past him. He described this UFO as a metallic craft with a green light. After this description, the communication vanished and Fred was never seen or heard from again. And this is the first audio that I could just not find anywhere, and I don't even think this audio exists, at least not to the public. Which sucks, because if this audio was found, that would be such an interesting UFO story. But many people believe that what actually happened was Frederick got confused for one reason or another and was flying upside down over the water. And he wasn't actually seeing a UFO, but was actually just describing the reflection of him over the water. No matter what though, this incident did actually happen because Steve has explained many times what happened, and says that this was indeed the very last time he ever saw or heard of Frederick. William Street is an animation company from Atlanta, and is similar to the THX intro as in where some people find it creepy and others don't. I personally think the THX intro is more creepy, or at least more fear-inducing. Most likely due to the fact that it was so loud, so that moment of realization where you had to scrounge around for the remote or hope you reached the TV in time to turn it down was a horrible experience. Especially if you weren't supposed to be watching TV. But the hammering sound from the William Street intro is a bit unnerving as well, and I'm sure if I heard this intro as a kid, I would have been scared by it, especially if I was woken up by the sound in the middle of the night. The death of Owen Hart is a saddening case that I just talked about in my Lost Media Iceberg video, but I didn't talk about the audio that was a part of this incident. During a WWE live broadcast, Owen Hart, aka the Blue Blazer, was supposed to be lowered down into the ring by a belt, but his harness broke and he fell to his death, live on air. The footage of this was recorded, but was locked away for him and his family's sake. But during a promo for the show, audio of him falling can be heard for a split second, with him screaming something that sounds like, "Why me?" It's a bit hard to catch, so make sure to pay attention. This whole case was a very saddening thing to happen, especially to Owen, who was a very nice man. There are even reports that while he was falling, he yelled out at people to move out of the way so he wouldn't hurt them. So that means while Owen Hart was falling to his death, he still had other people's well-beings ahead of his.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, Born of Discman situation a little bit later. Intercontinental title on the line here. The Godfather to defend against the Blue Blazer. Wink, wink, yeah, we know it's Owen Hart, but he thinks he's a superhero. And if you don't believe us, just listen to this. The Blue Blazer is back in the WWF because the WWF needs the Blue Blazer back. Why me? Because the WWF needs a superhero like the Blue Blazer.
Travis the chimpanzee was a pet chimp that in 2009 attacked Charla Nash by ripping off her face. While this was happening, the owner of Travis, Sandra Harold, was hiding in a car near the incident and was on the phone with police. The call is brutal, with Sandra crying her eyes out, claiming that Travis was ripping her apart, all while you can hear Travis screaming in the background. Thankfully, Charla lived the attack, but was left disfigured. Travis was actually an acting chimp and appeared in a few shows, one of which was the Maury Povich show. Travis at the time of the attack was taking medication for Lyme disease and was reportedly on Xanax. Travis was out and Charla attempted to get Travis to come inside. She did this while trying to lure him in with his favorite toy, which was a Tickle Me Elmo doll. Travis became enraged and started to attack Charla. Sandra tried to get him to stop by hitting him in the head with a shovel and even stabbing him with a butcher's knife. Sandra later stated that after she stabbed him, he turned around to look at her, as if to ask, "Why did you hurt me?" Travis became more enraged and continued to attack Charla. A police officer arrived and shot Travis 4 times. Travis then retreated back into the house and was found dead next to his cage.
What's the problem?
Police! Send the police!
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend!
What's the problem with your friend?
Oh, please!
What's the problem with your friend? I need to know.
Send the police up! With a gun! With a gun! Hurry
Who
up!
has a gun?
Please, hurry up! He's killing my girlfriend!
What is the problem?
He's killing my friend!
Who's killing your friend?
My chimpanzee!
Oh, your chimpanzee is killing your friend.
Yes. He ripped her apart! Hurry up!
With a gun.
Hurry up, please!
There's someone on the way.
With guns, please! Shoot him!
What is the monkey doing? Tell me what the monkey's...
He ripped her face off!
He's ripped her face off?
He's trying to attack me! Please,
Okay,
hurry!
I need you to calm down a little bit. They're on the way. Can you put yourself away? I don't want the monkey attacking you.
Please, hurry up! Listen to me!
They're on the way, ma'am.
Guns! They gotta shoot him, please! Please, hurry!
You're there with your friend. I need you to help your friend. Can you go help your friend?
I can't! He's trying to attack me now!
Is he still there with your friend?
Yes,
Okay, so then back off. Then don't get any closer, okay? They're already on the way.
please.
If the monkey moves away from your friend, let me know, okay? So we can try to help your friend.
No, I can't. She's dead. She's dead.
Why are you saying that she's dead?
She's dead. He ripped her apart.
He ripped what apart? Her face?
Everything.
He ripped her apart?
I think I'm gonna sleep. I think I'm gonna pass out.
No, just breathe, okay? I'm gonna stay with you on the phone until they get there.
Listen to me. Please, hurry. Please, hurry. Oh, my God. They gotta have their guns out. They gotta have their guns out. Listen to me. Oh, my God.
Is this your monkey or whose monkey
Yes.
is it? It's your monkey.
No, it's mine.
How do you know how big is he? How many pounds?
200 pounds.
400?
200.
200 pounds?
Listen to me, please. Where are they? Where are they?
And he's a chimp, correct?
Yes. Where are they?
They're going your way. They're going as fast as they can your way, okay?
Please go faster. Please, Dirk. Please.
Is the monkey still by your friend, or can you get close to your friend?
He's eating her. Please. God, oh, please.
Okay, I need you to calm down for me. I know.
Everywhere at the End of Time is an album by The Caretaker that is supposed to represent someone slowly succumbing to dementia. The beginning of the album is cheery and light, while the end is filled with nothing but sorrow and despair due to the fact that you no longer can remember anything you have done in your life. It's a very well made piece of art and is well known, with it having almost 30 million views. The Coast to Coast Area 51 phone call was a caller who called into a talk show, obviously paranoid and in stress. He claims that aliens are real and that people are after him. Shortly after this call, the power went out at the radio station, and the caller then calls back later with a complete tonal shift, explaining how he was just joking and aliens aren't real. People think that the power went out due to people from the government or Area 51 shutting it down, and the man was forced to say it was a joke to cover up what he said. And others think it was just a stunt to either get ratings up or just to get attention. But no matter who you ask, it's a very interesting recording and it's fun to speculate. Train is another piece of audio that was recorded in the ocean and sounds a bit similar to Julia. It's yet again similar to Julia and the bloop for its unknown origin, but just turning out to be an iceberg. And many people try to claim it's from a creature far bigger than anything we've ever seen. But that doesn't stop this audio from still being creepy, and if I was swimming and heard this sound, I wouldn't know what to do. Let's take a listen to Train. No, god damn it, not that type of trick. God. I try so hard to get these videos not to get demonetized or copyright strike. And you put this on me? Are you guys trying to give me a copyright strike? The Lost Cosmonaut tape is an audio recording of a Soviet woman talking back to base. While talking, she can be heard claiming that she feels hot. This is because the outside of her ship was engulfed in flames, and just moments after she got done talking to base, she died. This audio is supposed to take place during the space race, which was a race between the Soviet Union and the United States to see who could become superior at spaceflight. And this audio is supposed to be a recording of the Soviet Union's attempt to have the first woman in space. The name The Lost Cosmonaut was given because this supposed astronaut was never publicly talked about and no one knew who she was. Although an interesting story, this was proven to be faked, and the Soviet government denied this ever happened. This entry on the Iceberg refers to the world's oldest audio recording ever. This recording is from 1853, or possibly 1854, and is a small clip of Adolphe Giacomelli playing the guitar. This audio was recorded by Martinville, who I talked about earlier up on the Iceberg. Much like the other old audio recording, they didn't have a good way to record, so something as simple as a guitar sound sounds nothing how it should. The Backwards Music Station is a number station that reportedly had frequencies coming back and forth from United States and England. No one knows for sure if this audio is a form of communication or if it's just audio frequencies and nothing more. But the audio sounds similar to a man repeating himself in a raspy, somewhat robotic voice. But I honestly can't tell if it is a voice of a man or if it's just a strange frequency. The NASA Voyager during a space expedition recorded the audio of plasma. The audio is very short and not creepy at all. The audio is just a high-pitched noise that ends. Not very disturbing, but super cool. And much like the black holes I talked about before, although this sounds simple to us, in reality this is a very unique and special audio recording. Upsweep was an audio recording from the Pacific Ocean by NOAA once again. However, unlike the last three sounds from the ocean, upsweep has not been proven to be an iceberg hitting the floor, but is instead theorized to be some sort of volcanic activity. The audio was recorded in 1991, and what's more weird is that when sped up around 20 times speed, the audio sounds very similar to some sort of siren or alarm. Upsweep sounds like something that should not be from the ocean. The slow version and fast version are equally as terrifying. Just like Owen Hart's death, I talked about Timothy Treadwell in my Lost Media Iceberg as well, and there I explained how Timothy is much more well known as the Grizzly Man, who was sadly mauled to death by a grizzly bear. Timothy was supposed to head home, but due to complications, he decided to stay at Katmai National Park, and stayed a while longer to observe some bears. He decided to set up camp away from the main trails to avoid a new rule stating you must change camping spots after a certain number of days. Not just this, but Timothy didn't bring any kind of protection, due to Timothy thinking he had a trust or a bond formed with these bears. And to be fair, Timothy was not attacked by any of the bears he studied often, and was attacked by a bear he only observed a few times. Timothy's camera was on during the attack, and although the lens cap was on, the audio was recorded, so you can hear Timothy's screams as the grizzly attacks him and his girlfriend. The audio is not 100% to be proven real, but it does sound very realistic, and if this is not the real audio, it's still a very well made replica of the original audio. So do keep in mind, although most likely real, it hasn't been proven to be real. Take a listen, but be warned, this one is very disturbing. The Toy Box Killer was a man by the name of David Parker Ray, who would kidnap and murder street workers in his sex dungeon. This sex dungeon he labeled the Toy Box. While he killed and tortured these people, he would record everything he did and said to these women. Not just that, but he would also play pre-recorded messages to each and every new victim he had. In this audio, he mocked and teased them and told them their fate.
Hello there, bitch. Are you comfortable right now? I doubt it. Wrists and ankles chained, gagged, probably blindfolded. You are disoriented and scared too, I would imagine. Perfectly normal under the circumstances. For a little while at least, you need to get your shit together and listen to this tape. It is very relevant to your situation. I'm going to tell you in detail why you have been kidnapped, what's going to happen to you, and how long you'll be here. I don't know the details of your capture, because this tape is being created July 23rd, 1993, as a general advisory tape for all future female captives. The information I'm going to give you is based on my experience dealing with captives over a period of several years. If at a future date there are any major changes in our procedures, the tape will be upgraded. Now you are obviously here against your will, totally helpless, you don't know where you're at, don't know what's going to happen to you. You're very scared or very pissed off. I'm sure that you've already tried to get your wrists and ankles loose, and no you can't. Now you're just waiting to see what's going to happen next. You probably think you're going to be raped, and you're fucking sure right about that. Our primary interest is what you've got between your legs. You'll be raped thoroughly, and repeatedly, in every hole you've God, because basically you've been snatched and brought here for us to train and use you as a sex slave. Sound kind of far out? Well, I suppose it is to the uninitiated, but we do it all the time. It's gonna take a lot of adjustment on your part, and you're not gonna like it one fucking bit, but I don't give a rat's ass about that. It's not like you're gonna have any choice.
The Battle of Verdun took place during World War I, and the audio contains the screams of men killing and being killed. Along with these screams, you can hear explosions and gunshots. The audio is disturbing because it's just a small glimpse into how horrible we humans are and how horrible war is in general. The Battle of Verdun is well known for being the longest battle in history, lasting 10 months. Chernobyl was a nuclear accident that happened in 1986, and was a nuclear power plant that exploded and released tons of radioactivity into the nearby land, and caused up to $68 billion of damage in today's money. During this explosion, one of the workers called a firefighter to come and help, and this audio is in a different language, but just by the way the caller sounds, you can tell that he is scared for his life. I can't play the audio here for you guys right now, but the audio can easily be found on YouTube. The Chernobyl explosion occurred due to a poorly thought out experiment going horribly wrong. Annalise Michel was a young woman who undertook almost 100 exorcisms because she started seeing and hearing demonic things. She even started becoming scared of godly symbols such as the crucifix. Anna suffered from a few different types of medical conditions and had multiple seizures and convulsions throughout the years. A lot of these exorcisms were recorded and are very disturbing. Whether or not you believe she was possessed or was just suffering from an illness, she is obviously in pain. And Anna sadly did end up dying due to malnutrition, and both her mom and her priest were charged for her death. The Columbine school shooting was a horrible shooting that took the life from 15 people, including the shooters Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. The shooting is one of the most well-known shootings ever and was just a horrible thing to occur. During the shooting, multiple people called 911, and one of the most famous calls was a teacher calling while you can hear the gunshots ringing in the back, all while the teacher tells the students to stay calm and hide.
Jefferson County 911.
Yes, I am a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun. He has shot out a window. I believe one I've been
Columbine High School.
I don't know what's in my shoulder. If it was just the last thing through it.
Okay, has anybody been injured, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the tables, kids. Heads under the tables. Kids are screaming. Some of the teachers are, trying to take control of things. We need police here.
Okay, we're getting them there.
Police here.
Who is the student, ma'am?
I do not know who the student is.
Okay.
I saw a student outside. I was in hall duty. Oh, God. Okay. I was on hall duty. I saw a gun. I said, what's going on out there? And he said, oh, it's probably for video production. It's probably a joke. I said, well, I don't think that's a good idea. And I went walking outside. I think he was there to see what was going on. He turned the gun straight at us and shot. And my God, the window went out. And the kid standing there with me, I think he got hit.
Okay.
Something in my shoulder.
Okay. We've got help on the way, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Stay in the line with me.
Oh, God. Hey, just stay down.
Do we know where he's at?
I'm sorry?
Do we know where he's at?
Okay. I'm in the library. He's upstairs. He's right outside of here.
He's outside?
He's outside of this hall.
Outside of a hall or outside?
This hall.
Okay.
There are alarms and things going off now. Smoke. My God, smoke is like coming into this room.
Okay.
I've got the kids under the table here. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the building. We've also got smoke in the building. I don't know. I'm sure someone has to be calling 911 besides.
Yes, we've got a lot of people on. Okay. I just want you to stay in the line with me. We need to know what's going on.
Okay.
Okay?
I am on the floor.
Okay. And you've got the kids there?
Library, and I've got every student in this library on the floor. You better stay on the floor.
Is there any way you can lock the doors?
Smoke is coming in from out there, and I'm a little afraid. The gun is right outside the library door, okay? I don't think I'm going to go out there. Okay, you're at Columbine High School? I got 3 children. Okay, we got it. Okay? I'm not going to go to the door to shut the door, okay? I've got the kids on the floor.
The Forest Grove organ sound is a strange high-pitched sound that would start blaring at any given time. There are a few theories as to why this noise occurred. The local fire department claimed it was something wrong with the sewers, and others thought it could be something to do with a wind turbine or fan. This occurrence does resemble the strange sounds from the sky phenomenon, but weirdly enough, one day the sounds just stopped, with no given reason as to why. The Kauai bird is a now extinct bird that went extinct in 1989 due to the rapid destruction of their homes and the introduction of things such as rats, pigs, and mosquitoes. What makes the sound disturbing is the fact that this audio was from the very last bird of its kind on Earth. The sound this bird was making in the audio was a mating call to a female. However, sadly, that female never existed, so this male is unknowingly calling to nothing. And on top of that, this bird's beautiful call will never be heard again. The halt tapes were transcripts of a 1980 UFO sighting. The UFO was found by Cole Haltz and the audio is about 20 minutes long. So I can't play the whole thing here, but most people believe this to be one of, if not the only real UFO sightings recorded. The people who found this UFO were military personnel, and can be heard saying things such as how they saw a beam of light come from it, and they were so afraid and weary of whatever this object was that instead of pursuing it, they let it be and retreated back to the camp. Which, that might have been a good idea.
Be point 1. And let's go clockwise from there. Point 2. So this tree is between point 2 and point 3.
And 2 other personnel requesting to rendezvous with you at your location.
Tell them negative at this time. We'll tell them when they can come out here. We don't want them out here right now. Okay, the sample, you're going to mark this sample number 1.
Yes.
Have them cut it off and include some of that sap and all. Is between indentation 2 and 3 on a pine tree about 5 feet away, about 3.5 feet off the ground. There's a round abrasion on the tree about 3.5, 4 inches in diameter. It looks like it might be old, but strange as a crystalline.
This 911 Bigfoot call shows a man explaining to a 911 operator about seeing some kind of creature walking upright like a man. He claims he was too scared to kill this creature and that it looked like a human, but not quite. I'm not too sure if he thinks what he saw was a full-on Bigfoot or if he thinks he saw some kind of weird off-breed or mixed breed, but it's obvious there is no way to prove that this is real, because he could have easily seen something that wasn't Bigfoot, but maybe a bear or something. I don't know, but whatever this guy saw, he seems to think it wasn't human.
Cleveland County 911.
I don't know if I should have called this in or not, but
What's going on?
if I'd had my camera, I took a picture of it.
Took a picture of who?
I don't know what it was. He's walking upright like a man. I would not kill it because I was afraid to. But he went back up the mountain.
Cleveland County 911.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Yes. This is Tim Fiedler.
Uh-huh.
You probably have my address.
Yes, sir. What's going on now?
I shined a light on this thing, but I would not shoot it.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face. But I was afraid to kill it. And it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall with real long arms. I go out there, he gets gone. Now I come back in the house, and he gets back there again, and my dogs are just raising heck. Would I get in any trouble if I shot and killed this beast, this animal, or whatever it is? Would I get in any trouble?
I can't answer that question.
If he goes too close to me, I'm going to kill him.
The One World Trade Center wailing audio is audio that shows odd ghostly-like moanings coming from the Trade Center. Some claim it's just the wind, and others think it could possibly be the souls of the people who passed away during 9/11. The sounds are eerie and creepy, even though the explanation behind the sound is just the wind blowing and making different sounds. Walking past the Trade Center on a foggy day and hearing the sound would definitely send shivers down my spine. Christen Chubbuck was another person I talked about on my Lost Media Iceberg, and I even played the audio there. The audio consists of Christen rushing through the morning news and then going off script. Christen never did the morning news, so already this was an oddity. Christen rushed through her script and then swiftly switched off course, reading her own notes. In keeping with Channel 40's policy of bringing you the latest in blood and guts, and in living color, you are going to see another first. An attempted suicide. She then pulls out a gun and shoots herself. Christen was depressed due to the recent news she got about not being able to have kids. That, paired with the fact that she believed she didn't have the best luck with men, she felt there was no reason to be alive. Now, I can't play the audio here because my video will get claimed. However, I brought this up in my last Iceberg video, and many people got mad at me, saying that the audio was not real and that it was from the 2016 movie called Christine, which is a movie based upon Christine's story. And I made sure to triple and quadruple check if this audio was from the movie or if it was real. And I can 100% say that even if this audio is not real, it is definitely not from the movie. There are multiple differences, such as in the real audio, Christen says Channel 40's policy. But in the 2016 movie, she says Channel 30. Not just this, but in the movie there are multiple instances where when reading, Christine is interrupted and talked over by other people. And in the original audio, this is absent. And I even went as far as to read the 2016 movie script, and in the script, she says channel 30 instead of 40. And I looked at the transcript of the original audio, and she 100% says channel 40. Breakthrough is a book all about an experimental way of communicating to the dead. The reason this is on a Scary Sounds iceberg and not a Scary Books iceberg is because alongside the book was a vinyl recording that was roughly 23 minutes long. The way this experimental way of communicating worked was one would turn on a microphone. And that's it. No talking, no audio or nothing. And then they would replay the microphone recording and would supposedly sometimes hear spirits. Now that's the basic gist of it. There are a few other different theories, such as you had to have a sentimental object of the spirit nearby, or at least talking about them. The vinyl has audio of these supposed spirits talking back, and it is very interesting to listen to. Sometimes it's very obvious there is a second muffled or loud voice that can be heard, but this could be possibly faked even back in the day. It could be faked by them using a bad microphone or using some sort of tool to make their voice sound muffled, or maybe even speaking super closely into the mic loudly, because doing that could cause some of these effects. However, this is all just speculation on my part, and this could be proof of spiritual beings existing, and I could have no idea. Spoofed or not, the fact that this vinyl did come alongside a 300+ page book shows that there indeed was a lot of research in this experiment. And writing a 300-page book just to go alongside a hoax is a lot of work that seems not worth it at all. But what do you guys think?
The voices here selected are grouped according to the persons addressed and their respective answers, followed by a translation and explanation. They are examples chosen to give the reader a breakthrough, an acoustic illustration of the material presented in the book. The listener is asked to read any text spoken in languages he does not know with particular attention, so that he may be able to grasp each separate word phonetically. Please note the commentary that goes with each voice text, as the meaning of some utterances can only be understood in context with the situation that gave rise to them.
The first voice is that of Margarete Petrowski, who had told the experimenter during her lifetime that she did not believe in an existence after death. After her passing, the experimenter asked her how she felt in the beyond, and a voice, identified as coming from Margarete, answered, "Bedenke, ich bin."
The Spirocom was created to be a two-way communication tower from humans to spirits. It was created by George Meek and Bill O'Neill in the 1970s, and the name Spirocom is short for Spirit Communicator. It's an odd-sounding machine that's supposed to transform your voice and send it to the spirit side. Well, if the spirits talk, it will be sent over to our side. Now that would be a very cool invention, if it actually worked. While listening to the recording, it's almost impossible to hear any type of spirit voice, or other person trying to communicate through the Spirocom. And all this machine really does in the recording is takes the audio from whoever's speaking into it and replays it at a high-pitched robotic sound. To me, when I hear this audio, it just reminds me of one of those voice changers I would play with as a kid. And it just so happens that the person using the Spirocom to prove it's real just so happens to be its creator, Bill O'Neill.
Mr. Mueller, Those are unlisted telephone numbers.
That's correct.
All right, now if I, oh boy, even though I give, you know, when they answer and I give the code, even then, sir, wouldn't they wonder, you know, maybe there's another code or something, and considering what they're involved in,
Worry about that.
yes, but I do, sir. I do worry about that, sir. You know, what, you know, that one fellow especially, sir, that, you said he has a Q clearance?
That's correct. Secret.
A secret, Q clearance. Supposing they found out it was me, okay? And they wanted to know how I got a hold of the unlisted telephone number. Now, who would believe where I got these unlisted? Oh boy.
Don't worry about that, William. You have nothing to worry about in that respect.
Well, I don't know, sir.
Oh, yes, William.
Yes, sir.
About IFRC, the Integrated Frequency Response Treatment.
Yes, sir.
Have you had any response?
Well, response. Yes, I've had some response on IFRC. Our friend, yes, our friend has been handling that, sir, and he sent me some Xerox copies of some rather positive results where they've used it in a clinic somewhere, I think it's a clinic somewhere in Florida.
Oh, I see.
And, well, that's about it, sir.
Did you call that number?
Which one's that, sir? Which one is that, sir?
The Colossi of Memnon are two ancient Egyptian statues that, from time to time, reportedly one of them will make a low humming sound at sunset. They were built to protect the pharaoh's temple from evil and stand guard, but also provided another feature, which was playing song. There are multiple accounts where Egyptians and others would gather to the statue to hear music from it. And after all these years and natural disaster after natural disaster, the Colossi of Memnon still stand 59 feet tall, and even outlived the temple they were built to protect. And sadly, I couldn't find any good audio that shows off their low humming noise, so I'll just recreate the sound for you guys. Peter Soto's Buyer's Market is an album of sorts, if you can even call it that, but instead of music, it consists of audio collages of spoken word samples from children, law enforcement, and sexual assault victims. The first quote-unquote song is titled Children, and consists of multiple young kids explaining their hatred for being sexually assaulted or hurt by people who took advantage of them. Not only this, but the album uses real audio, and is more like small interviews, and the last minute of the song, Children, has a young kid crying their eyes out because they were told they had to visit their father, even though they knew what would happen if they went to see him. The second song is titled McMartin, and is different audios of children and parents talking about being taken advantage of on school grounds. It's heartbreaking to hear these kids living in fear, thinking they would be hurt or punished if they tried to talk about what was going on at their school. The whole album is sickening and disturbing due to how real it is, and I would play it here, but not only for copyright issues, I just don't feel comfortable playing the audio for you guys since it's a very, very raw subject. So if you do want to hear it, feel free to do so. It's here on YouTube. But please be warned, it is very upsetting. I'm not sure how to 100% pronounce this title, so I won't, to save myself from embarrassment. This collection of, I guess, songs were designed to be as horrible as possible. They were made with the sole intent to make you feel uncomfortable and upset while listening. You can hear things such as moaning and screaming throughout the songs, all while a collection of low and high-pitched jumbles of sounds play in the background as music. The band themselves classify their art as music terror and create their songs with the goal of the music harming you in any negative way. It's an interesting piece of art, and since it was made to be disturbing, I don't find it as horrific and unnerving as, say, Buyer's Market, because Buyer's Market was very much real, while this was made to be disturbing and nothing else. Yet another iceberg under my belt. I got this idea from another YouTuber, and I want to say friend, that goes by the name of That Dane, and if you like my content, you will definitely like his. And somewhat stupidly of me, I didn't realize that me and him covered basically the same iceberg chart, with his version of the iceberg having more entries than mine. So if you'd like to see what he has to say about these entries plus others, I recommend his video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my approach with the video in general. I know it's hard to tell, but I really do care about quality and I really care about fixing my mistakes. This video was actually done a long time ago. Well, depending on when this video comes out, it could have been a long time ago, I don't know. But I remade this video for a few reasons. One, not only was I myself not happy with how the final product of my other version came out, but after reading every single comment, which, yes, I read every single comment I get, negative, positive, or even sexual, I still read them, and I take criticism into account, and I want everybody to know this. I, as myself and a content creator, want to grow. I don't want only to see my numbers and videos do better, I myself want to do better. So if you provide criticism to me, I will accept it and try to fix my ways. But if criticism and advice is presented ignorantly, it's a lot harder for me to take it in. So taking all that criticism into play, I scrapped the whole video and I redid it. I rewrote the script, I made sure to do extra research just to be sure, and I redid the video. So hopefully it was worth it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you like how it turned out. I really hope so. I really want to make videos people enjoy. And I'm kind of rambling now, so I'll just get to the point. Icebergs tend to be pretty long, so I don't want to keep you guys from watching other content or doing something arguably better than watching my stuff. So I'll just say thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day or night. And if this is the last time you come across my channel, have a great life. Thank you.